Rudy A Blends back with another haircut tutorial. Now in this haircut tutorial, this is gonna be a little slight different. You know what I'm saying? My client usually likes a low fade, but he was trying to get a little something higher on the mid fade, something that will last a little bit longer than usual. Like a comb over. So a lot of people on the comb over side like to force to make it towards one specific side on one natural side, but tends to leave a lot of bulk and looks pretty messy. Now there'll be some different circumstances. My client, it took me a long time to actually let me cut that big chunk out of his head because he didn't really want to. He really actually liked it until this video, until I tried to explain it to him, and then boom. Stay tuned. Rudy A Blends back with the haircut tutorial. And this haircut tutorial, like I said before, we are going to be doing like a mid fade. And we're basically, I was trying to do it contour on his head shape, but he specifically told me that he wanted it a little bit higher on the back, that he didn't really like that U shape. And this one is not really mostly common. Most people actually like to hide the occipital bone. And him, on his style, he was like, you know what, I just want to try. He just wanted to try something different. He wanted a higher fade, which is pretty cool, nothing wrong with that. Now we are going to be setting our first bald line with our trimmers. Pretty self-explanatory. Some people say start below the eyebrow. Some people say start above the eyebrow, and that's just total nonsense, because you can actually tell me to do my bald line below my eyebrow. But what if my brother's eyebrows are slightly more upper and closer to his, let's say by his, the corner of his edges? You know what I mean? Not everybody shape is the same. Everybody's different. So what I like to do when I'm doing mid fades and ball fades, low, mid, high, I like to try to go above the ear, slightly above the ear. I consider that a mid fade. Sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes their head shape, it doesn't necessarily go with that. Sometimes, their ears are already closer, they have big long ears, and they're closer towards the top of his head. So on my first my first guideline is going to be with the lever all the way open, and I'm going about a full inch. Now if you're barely learning how to learn how to cut hair, what I would advise you is to don't focus on the Instagram fades. The Instagram fades, they look pretty dope. They look extremely nice, but they take quite a few of experience. And if you use one guideline at a time and you spread it out, you're actually making it easier for you to blend in. You know what I'm saying? So what I did is, after the all the way open, I did one guard open, and then now I'm doing a one guard with the two guard open. I'm doing with another inch. Now a lot of people be looking at the tips of the guard. I don't do that, and you shouldn't do that. When you're making a guideline, you shouldn't look at the tips of the guard. You should be really looking at the cutting blade. At the blade, if it's moving, that's what you should be really looking at. You shouldn't be looking at the tips, because you can actually touch the tip with the hair and not cut it. You know what I mean? So you actually always have to be looking by the blade that's always moving. And after the two guard, then I went up with the three guard. Now right here, his hair is pointing towards the direction towards the right. It used to be that he would want that hair to comb to the left, because on his hairstyle, his comb over, he likes everything combed to the left, which is cool. But as you can see, where I have the I don't know how you say it, that black thing you use to hold the hair right there, that I'm using right there, I'm forcing it. I'm forcing it a lot. But I was trying to save it till the end to show you that to show you how to make it the natural way. So as you can see right there, I'm actually just cutting against the grain. And like I said, he wanted me to go a little bit higher, so that I was just client consultation. If it was for me, I would prefer a little bit, have some weight in there. But hey, customer service, whatever they want, that it is what it is. And now I'm going with the number 3 guard, making a full inch. You know what I mean? Now I'm really not trying to dig in whatever the blade catches, and that's what it's cutting. Now As you can see, the scar, that's pretty normal. That's just our natural scar. Now it is our job to blend it in as much as possible. And right here, I'm just using the number 4 guard. Now, to see on which direction the hair is supposed to be naturally laying down, what I like to do is I like to wet it, and I like to pull it up. When I pull it up, it's going to go to one side. It's either going to go standing up, to the left, or to the right, down or up. And then as soon as that happens, you cut it with that side coming, whatever side is coming towards. And if it's going up, then if it were me, I'll cut it off. I would automatically cut it off. Because sometimes, when you're like doing whatever hairstyle you're doing, and then at the back, you see like a big old hair just sticking up, it's pretty annoying, So people usually like to put extra gel, extra product. And to me, it's like, man, just cut it off. And if you get a haircut every 2 weeks, by the time it's 2 weeks, man, you're already cutting that off. You know what I mean? Now I'm using my half guard, and I'm attacking the line between the 1 and the 2. So the second guideline that we did, that's the line that I'm attacking. Now they say, how high do you go? You don't pass whatever the 2 guard guideline is. And I'm really using the corners. When I'm making guidelines, you're using the whole thing. But when I'm fading nice and smoothly, you want to use the corners. Now I'm using the 1.5 guard, and I am attacking the line between above the 2 and the 1. You know what I mean? And I'm using the same thing, the corners. Now, a lot of people, especially me, I was one of them, I would sometimes skip this because this doesn't blend the line out. It does not blend the line out. It just makes it smoother, and you take it out with the number 1 guard. Because after this step is with the 1 guard step. Now, how I was doing it, I was like, what is the point of doing this if I'm going to have to take it out with the 1 guard open? So what I used to do when I was started to learn how to cut hair, I will automatically take that guard off, skip it, and then try to go with the 1 guard open. The more you skip your guards, sometimes it is easier. Most of the time, it's not. I would just say have patience, stick with the plan that you have of the fading plan, and just stick with it. Sometimes it might feel like it's taking longer, but sometimes when you look at the clock, you're actually going faster than you usually are. Now, this is from my experience. Sometimes I'm cutting so fast that I'm moving the clipper and I'm not actually cutting enough hair because my hand is moving way too fast. So there's a saying that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And that's totally true. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to slow down to understand what you're doing to actually know how to fade. And especially if you're starting to learn how to cut hair, I don't care if it's your own hair, you're somebody else's hair. It takes time and it takes patience. You have to learn what you're doing. What I did when I was first starting to learn how to cut hair, I knew how to instantly fade. I just didn't know how to stop fading. So if you wanted a high fade, I would give you extremely high fades. I wanted to be super blended. You know what I mean? And some hair textures, you just can't be super blended. You just really can't. Some hairs, you have 10 hairs and they want a nice fade, and you can't give them a nice fade with 10 hairs. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? So now, after what I did is I started using the shavers, and I shaved them all the way around. I did use the corners. I know it doesn't look like I do, but I actually do. Now, I did leave a slight stubble of a line. So what I did is came back with the corners. I flipped the clipper the way I set the same guideline, and I was using the corners and make sure I was balding that out. Now, this step should be the easiest step, which is closed, halfway, all the way open. As you can see, I actually fixed my clippers. I actually took a piece out from the magic clips and I put it back on the seniors. So now my magic clips doesn't work. But it's all cool because I actually rely on more of the seniors because of the weight and stuff. I feel like it's more powerful, even though they have the same motor and stuff. It's just a mind thing, you know what I mean? But now, to take it out, I am using the corners. Now, don't be exaggerating. When you're using the corners, you don't want to use just one piece of the corner. When I was first starting to cut hair, I was literally just using one piece of a corner, just one corner of the blade, just literally one. And that would take me a long, extremely long time. And I know I said it's take your time, but when you're just using one blade, it's just not going to work. You know what I mean? So I would suggest using 2 to 4 teeth of the blade from the corners. And from that, just have your eye around there, and then just make sure you're blending in. Now, sometimes when you make one pass, when you're fading, it doesn't usually fade. You have to kind of keep doing it. You know what I mean? For example, if you're cutting with the number 1 guard all the way on top, it's going to take more than one pass to make it fully smooth on top and make it on the 1 guard on top. You know what I mean? So, and it takes a little bit more or passes and surpasses to make it nice and smooth. Now, this is my steps. These are the steps that I work. I've tried a bunch. I actually, sometimes I tend to cut different at the shop, especially if I have a lot of customers. But this is by far what always worked for me. No matter what type of hair texture, I felt like this steps was actually working for me. Now, if you're afraid of cutting afraid of cutting hair, then I would say make the ball line belower. So if they want a low fade, make it like a taper, the ball line, but all the way around, make the guidelines even bigger, like exaggerating bigger. I know it's gonna be huge. I've done it before and it actually did work for me. That's why I learned how to cut hair pretty fast. I guess that's one of my secrets. If you wanted a low fade, I loved when people had a mid fade. When they wanted a mid fade, I would start all the way from the bottom, and for some reason I already knew that my guidelines was going to be extremely big, and I didn't care. I just wanted to make sure I got the method right. I understand the scientific part of the fading techniques and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So now I'm doing detail work. And as you can see, I did with the half guard, but now this is the good part. Now, this is the hair overlaying part that I was talking about. This part is not natural. This, I don't know why a lot of, mostly in the Hispanic culture, we tend to have this part. I don't want to say Hispanic, I feel like it's every race sometimes every hair texture with this, race tends to do this. They kind of force it, especially because my customer right here, he never had a fade before. He told me I was his first fade when he met me, which is pretty cool because he had like long hair, like extremely long hair. I'm talking about like 10 inches around his head. You know what I mean? Now what I like to do is I like to grab the comb, put it on his head, and wherever it tends to round out, that's wherever I cut. You know what I mean? And look at it, boom. As soon as you cut it nice and smooth. Man, this is like satisfaction, you know what I mean? Now, when they take a shower and go to the beach or whatever they want to do and they get their hair wet, their hair will automatically lay towards the other side. Now, right here, I am using the number 3 guard, and I'm usually I'm not digging in. I'm trying to make the shape as squared as possible, and then boom. That's a nice, smooth blend. You know what I mean? I'm Rudy A. Blends. If you like this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And God bless.